Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
Hello, listeners. Welcome to Business Innovators Radio. This is your host, Constant Taylor. Today, we have a very special guest on the show, and they're going to share some very exciting information with us. So, if you're looking to increase your personal and professional effectiveness, then you've come to the right place. Our special guest today is Ted Buckley. Ted has been speaking professionally for over 5 years, and his primary content is motivational training. He's based out of the Chicago area, and he has a book coming out called Ted's Theory of Relativity. Ted, welcome to the show.
Well, thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
And we're glad to have you. I'd like to kick off the show by asking you if you could tell the listeners a little bit about your business and how you help people improve their effectiveness.
Okay, very good. I've been looking and working with people all my life. I am a big sports guy, so I started out coaching and working with youth and developing what their goals can be in sports, and then carried that over into my business ventures, where I was a sales manager and working in the corporate environment, working with sales teams, both domestically and internationally, and working and developing and having people set goals and the strategy behind sustained improvement over a period of time. So both on the sports section and on the business section, there's a lot of similarities, and that's really the exciting part that I see, is that whole idea of if you can set goals and hit your goals, whether it's in sports or in business, whether it's a big win or a small win, those keep you going and keep you motivated for the long term.
Yeah, I could not agree more, and I'm a big sports fan myself. I'm a Wolverine alumni, so really been following Jim Harbaugh and have been applying his business his coaching principles to my own business. So it's interesting that you say that.
Yeah, it's really it's a lot of fun, and you can see a lot of. There's a lot of successful people that come from all aspects of life. You don't have to come from sports to be successful, that's for sure. But there's a lot of traits you can use, and a lot of, what they use as far as team building, individual goals, different ways you can use resources you look at a football team, there's the head coach, then you've got the quarterback coach, offensive line coach, you've got all these different people that are helping the players. And so it's really one of those things that the guidance that you get along the way, no one's really expected to do it on their own on a football field. And I think the same is true in business. You can't just go out there and feel like you can be successful on your own and weather these storms and changes for the long term. I think, getting, whether it's a professional life coach or going to motivational speaking programs or tapes or CDs or things you can do, podcasts along the way to really keep you jazzed up, because it's you hit some bumps in the road, and it's important to readjust and reevaluate where you're at and get some advice from people that can give you solid advice to help you out and set you in the right direction. So it's really a lot of fun that way, is looking as how can you win. And it's not always about making the most money. Winning is being happy, being satisfied in your life, having good balance with the family, what your spiritual life is, what you are to the community, what you are to your business, and maybe as you grow, you become a mentor to others. So success is a real part of or should I say, the measurement of success is really all those small attributes. But it's something that if you put those out there and set the goals for yourself, you can get there.
Mm-hmm. So, in terms of the self-made man or self-made person, what's your thoughts on that?
Well, I look at the self-made man or the self-made person. It's the same way as I do. They talk about the overnight success, and whether it's in music, you see it a lot in music. People, country stars or pop stars or or you see it in movies and TV, all of a sudden you see this actor or actress that's 35 years old and they're an overnight success. It's really years and years of hard work where they didn't bust through yet, that they started early many times and then all of a sudden became a big hit. And I think that's almost the same way I look at self-made, where you have, whether it's a grade school teacher in first grade or your mom or dad or maybe a coach or an instructor or someone that all contributed to you thinking in different ways. And, you kind of look back to your grade school teachers or anyone in those years that people guided you along the way. Now, definitely, there's 30 kids in your class, maybe in third grade, and not everyone was listening as hard, and you might have connected with that teacher, right?
Right.
But you look at it as a 35-year-old or a 40-year-old or a 25-year-old, you say, boy, those people along the way really helped. And so I think the self-made person, even though they could have fought through those battles, you need to mentally fight through, to always be looking at the end result is you're going through struggles, and we all do. We all go through struggles, but the self-made person, I think, gets a lot of help along the way, that's for sure.
Okay, excellent. And it kind of goes into what you said previously, that there's, nobody's in this by themselves. I mean, the self-made person needed a mother and a father, at least a mother, to bring them here. They needed, somebody to clothe them and feed them and give them instruction. So it's a collaboration or a team, just like you said about like the football system. Somebody helps you get along the way. Now, going back a little bit, can you tell us how you got to where you are today? What's your background? Where did you start? And what motivated you to motivate others?
That's a great question. I had a college education coming out in my early 20s, started in sales, and wasn't really successful. I wasn't confident in myself. I wasn't a really good public speaker. And one of my first managers coming out of college, worked for a pharmaceutical company, and she said, "Hey, Ted, you should really think about doing Toastmasters, the public speaking club you can join." And we gave a lot of presentations in those days to the residents at the hospital, and my public speaking skills weren't very good. So I started doing Toastmasters twice a month and got involved with that and gained some confidence in public speaking. And then at the same time, I had about a 4-state territory that I'd hop in my car and drive down to Indianapolis, or I'd drive down to downstate Illinois or up to Detroit, and you're in the car for 4, 5, 6 hours. I started listening to a lot of the sales and motivational instructional videos or DVDs, cassettes at that point, really. And you hear those over and over, just helpful hints from the masters, anyone from like Zig Ziglar to Tom Hopkins, Anthony Robbins. And you hear those people on your way down. It's like almost it's a mental workout. Instead of going to the gym and lifting, you go to the gym and lift weights for your muscles. But if you start hearing this positive stuff in your brain of, hey, this is a different way to look at your sales day. This is a different way to get organized. This is a different way to, and then you actually apply it because you're in it. You're doing it every day, and it doesn't all absorb. You listen to a lot of tapes and you get 2 or 3 good points, and you listen to the same tape again and get a couple, 2 or 3 good points. And that's really kind of I never got an MBA, but I would say that's my advanced training out of college, was my MBA of school, and public speaking and how to connect with people is all self-study. And that has carried me over till today I've done a lot of public speaking. I've done a lot of coaching and working with executives and sales teams. And I've run sales organizations both domestically and internationally. And it's really geared towards those fundamental basics that I've borrowed from some of the masters that still hold true today.
Yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned Tom Hopkins. I had the great pleasure and honor of interviewing him 2 days ago, and that will be up on the Business Innovators magazine pretty soon. But that was the first sales book that I had ever purchased. So it had a huge impact on me, and I conveyed that with him. So it's interesting that you mentioned that. Now, so taking that to where you were, what sparked you to say, okay, I need to share this information with people. People can be helped by the information that I have, the knowledge that I have. When did that happen?
It started happening when I'm a father of I've got 3 boys and a daughter, and they're the boys are in college and my daughter's in high school, and I started working with them, obviously helping them do their homework and stuff after work, and you get together and then you play catch in the backyard and you're helping them do different things along the way, and it really had an impact on me that not that, your kids are going to fall. They're going to fall off their bike, and it's the whole idea that you fall down, you get up, and you go after it again. And I really enjoyed that type of experience I had with them. And then thinking about how that related to work, I had a handful of reps that they're almost like my kids right now because they were younger than I was, and you get to work with them when they're raw, right out of college, and they're young, they're eager, they're ready to go, and they're like a sponge. And once you have that feeling of being, impactful with other people, whether it's my own flesh and blood or whether it's a new employee at work, and all of a sudden, they get to wear the cap and gown, and they're graduating from high school, or some of the sales reps that I got at my sales teams, that you're handing them the trophy, at the end of the year, and they're winning salesperson of the year in the organization, and they're just beaming from, eye to eye with the biggest smile out there, and they're giving you a handshake and saying, "Hey, Ted, I wouldn't have gotten here without you." That's a huge, that's worth gold, in my mind, that feel good that you're helping someone else and passing it on. So that's kind of how I started getting the bug. So the more I can do it, whether it's one-on-one or training or working with organizations, really having a measurable impact on people's lives, because I think everyone has it in them. I think everyone has that ability. It's whether you are willing to dig deep, work hard, fall down, get up, and keep going at it, that's going to separate you and give you the satisfaction of success.
It makes perfect sense. Now, I'd like for you to convey a message to the listeners, and this message is, if you don't get anything out of the discussion that we had today, this is what I want you to get. This is what I want to convey to you. Could you please do that?
Sure, absolutely. I think, one of the key things that you can look at yourself and figure out is nothing's going to happen overnight. And that is one of the biggest frustrations of living on our planet. We all want it to happen tomorrow.
Yes.
Everyone does. And it's just so, whether it's saving money for investments, whether it's going to the gym to get big muscles, or whether it's going to the gym to lose weight, whether it's trying to get a degree or get better at whatever your profession or skill is, it's really consistency over time. It's not magic. Nothing really is magic. It's just a matter of, if you want to get better at something, if you do it every day, you follow some masters, follow the people that have been there before, use some good instruction, and do it a little bit every day. Do it as much as you can, but don't think you're going to get there overnight, and don't give up. I mean, it's one of those things that you're going to bounce around and get the school of hard knocks thrown at you. But if whether you're 50 years old and you recently got laid off, or whether you're 20 years old trying to get your first job out of college, there's a lot to be said for the consistency, getting your feelings hurt, getting knocked down, putting your coat back on and going at it, because that's what pays off more than anything. More than skill, more than background, more than your connections, more than where you grew up, all that stuff. That can, someone say, "Oh, that guy's successful because he knows people," or "that guy's successful because of, he's lucky." And say, well, occasionally, yeah, that could happen occasionally, but if you go at it every day and you work hard, consistency over time is the key.
Yep, I agree. Consistency, persistence. Now, if the listeners would like to get in contact with you, what is the best way to do that?
The best way is at my website. It's Ted Buckley, speaksandcoaches.com. We have all the information there about my programs, some of the life coaching programs I put on, as well as some of the lecture series. They can go there and check it out.
Okay, excellent. Well, Ted, thank you so much for coming on the program. That was extremely powerful information that you shared with our listeners, and we appreciate it.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.